वेलकम टू टुडेज वैल्यू टॉक। आज हम बात करेंगे ट्रांजिशन की वेरियस स्टेजेस की, बेसिकली जो भी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स हैं ऑफ करियर ट्रांजिशन उनके बारे में। एंड आई एम गोइंग टू टच अपॉन हाउ यू कैन अवॉइड गेटिंग स्टक इन अ जॉब व्हिच यू डोंट लाइक or entering the wrong line, choosing the wrong role of the industry. Now it is very important, especially for armed forces officers who are making a career transition from uniform to the corporate sector. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आप लोग जो है पहली बार में ही उस लाइन में जाएं, उस इंडस्ट्री में या उस जॉब रोल में जाएं जो कि आपको पसंद है, क्योंकि आपको सेकंड ट्रांजिशन के बाद थर्ड ट्रांजिशन का जो मौका है ना, वो बहुत मुश्किल से मिलता है। आप यू आर ऑलरेडी इन अ डिफरेंट एनवायरमेंट इन यूनिफॉर्म। इट्स अ वेरी डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ एनवायरमेंट। फ्रॉम देयर यू आर मेकिंग अ ट्रांजिशन टू द कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर, जो कि एक बहुत ही बड़ा डिफरेंट कल्चर है। इट्स अ डिफरेंट बॉल गेम ऑल टुगेदर। एंड उसके बाद आप उसमें अगर इनिशियली ही इफ यू गो रॉन्ग इन योर इन चूजिंग द करियर और जॉब जो कि आपके लिए सूटेबल नहीं है, जस्ट बिकॉज उसकी सैलरी बहुत अच्छी है, तो देन आई एम टेलिंग यू यू विल रिग्रेट फॉर योर लाइफ। विल टॉक अबाउट इट लिटिल लेटर. We will also talk about important aspects of resume summary. Last time, I think one or two Tuesdays back, and also on my career coach channel, I had taken a session on impactful resume. एंड उसमें हमने समरी सेक्शन को छोड़ दिया था, क्योंकि वी सेड कि समरी जो है वो सबसे लास्ट में लिखेंगे, तो उस वक्त समरी सेक्शन को हमने कवर नहीं किया था. टुडे आई विल continue from that session only. People who have not seen that session can, of course, go to Value Talk YouTube channel or Career Coach YouTube channel. And then we will also cover today very briefly on the various aspects of interviews, because I have been getting calls from people. I think DGR courses की campus placement interview rounds have started, and I have had mixed reactions from people. Somebody saying ये सब पास है, ऐसे ही है, पहले से ही decided था, कुछ पता नहीं है वगैरह वगैरह, and all whatever. I don't know what is the truth, but we will talk about some important aspects of interview so that आप interview के लिए अच्छे तरीके से तैयार हैं. आप उसमें select होते हैं नहीं होते हैं, different thing altogether, but you should prepare systematically. That is what we are going to talk about. Before we move ahead, there is a Value Talk Google group. We keep posting in our various groups the link to that, and that group has got many eminent people from various walks of life, including administrative services. We are planning to make it a group of people who are qualified to give good advice. So do join that. We keep posting the link in our groups. So firstly, we will talk about, imagine you have already got a very good paying job, and you're very happy, very excited. You have made a career transition, say from uniform forces. I assume that most of the audience is armed forces background, so that is why I'm taking the example of uniform people also. But if there are some other people, even then it is fine. So just imagine that you've got a very good job. When I say very good, you don't know anything about the job, but the salary is very good. So, and you're very excited, you join it, you go there, you find the job quite suffocating. There is not much, there is no intellectual stimulation, there is nothing, the job satisfaction is not there. You think that it will get okay in some time, but it doesn't get okay. And you're surrounded by people, jinka level, you think they are not good enough. And it happens. I'm giving you very practical example. Actually, you don't like the culture, you don't like the environment. There are long meetings, jinka koi sir pair nahi hota. The only good thing about that job is the salary. I am telling you, if that happens, that is the biggest mistake of your life. Don't go only for salary. So, and then you think that, चलो मैं थोड़ी देर जॉब कर लेता हूँ, and thereafter I will make a switch. Now imagine you have already made a major switch from uniform to the corporate. Now, and you have joined, say, the manufacturing industry, and from there you want to join now the IT industry in a different technical role. Now, it पहली बात आपने अभी एक करियर ट्रांजिशन करी थी, अभी सेकेंडली यू आर trying to do it very soon again. leaves a bad impression. Secondly, you made a career transition from armed forces or from some other industry to manufacturing industry, and now you're planning to change it again, totally 360 degrees. Again, it shows confusion in your mind. You're not clear what you want to do, and it reflects poorly. So what I'm trying to say is that it is very difficult to make one transition and then second transition. You may not get that chance, and if you continue in that job, you get branded for that particular role or industry. So what I am trying to tell you is one of the most important thing is that you choose your first job very carefully if you are transitioning from armed forces or if you are making a career transition from one industry to another. I'm not saying only armed forces. But if you're making a major career transition, then it has to be a very well thought of, very well planned thing. And that is why मैंने पहले भी बात करी थी of you should go for various tools, and that is where the tools like psychometric analysis, etc. There are plenty of you know places from where you can. In fact, in the career coach support group, also somebody who had already taken the test or something and then posted a report also, I think. So what is psychometric analysis? It is basically it studies various psychological measurements, your abilities, your personal traits, your aptitudes, and it involves the use of various tests and assessment tools to measure these psychological factors. And उसको analyze करके उनका जो result होता है उसको analyze करके we can get a deeper understanding of our own strengths, weaknesses, and preferences, and how this information can be used. This information can be used to make an informed career decision and ultimately to choose a right career path. Now, you cannot be penny wise and pound foolish. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish if you are, say, leaving after 10 years of service or 20 years of service. You may be in 30s or you may be in 40s. We'll come to 50s also. Now, you are going to work till the age of, I assume, 60 years. That is the age of retirement in corporate sector. So a person who's in 30s has got 25 odd years to go. A person who's in 40s has got 20 years. A person who's in 50s has got another 5 to 10 years to go. And you are going to earn the entire life depends on it. Second life. Somebody, if you're looking at, if you have 25 years of work life remaining, imagine why would you not spend some 3, 4, 5,000 bucks on going through this process? It's totally your choice, but I would highly recommend go through it. It will help you it may not help you in maybe selecting where to go, but it may help you in rejecting. Somehow your choices, your spectrum would narrow down and you can focus on maybe the right thing. At the most, what will happen? You may still not get the good job, or you may still not, or you may get the good job. That is what is going to happen. No? So, and what is the cost? Nothing. 25 years, 20 years, 15 years, 10 years of work life thereafter. So I will not dwell upon it much anymore. It is a point which we sometimes overlook and then get into wrong jobs. And that is something which I am telling you will ruin your life. So I will just share the presentation now for the next thing which I wanted to talk about, which is about the resume thing which we had, last time discussed, but we didn't cover the summary part. So today we'll talk about the summary part of resume, which is very important. So this is a video I had put on, I think, Career Coach YouTube channel, and if you have not seen this, you must see this and correlate what we are going to talk about today. And these are some of the videos which I have already posted on Career Coach YouTube. Right. So this is what we had spoken about last time. So I will just repeat a little bit. So this was the top half section, and this is my name and then my title and then my contact details and then was executive summary which I had left blank. It is supposed to have a paragraph or 5 6 bullets or 4 5 bullets, but I have not written it here. And then my professional experience in one company, then other company, and then comes my education, and then is my skills, publication, and interests. So this is how we had structured the resume, and we had covered what all should be there, how action bullets are to be written, how impacts, achievements, etc. have to be written, how the skills have to be written. All this we had covered last time. But today we'll talk about executive summary and why. हमने पिछली बार ये एग्जीक्यूटिव समरी किस लिए नहीं कवर करी थी? इसलिए नहीं कवर करी थी कि समरी कब लिखी जाती है? You cannot summarize a thing and then write the document. You have to write the document and then summarize, right? Now, so one thing which is very important about a resume is it should have a clear structure, both for the application tracking system as well as for the human reader. ये जो squares बने हुए हैं, so all these boxes are basically, these are not part of the resume. These are my explanations which I had covered last time. Otherwise, this resume is what is written in the center. So it has a clear structure. It has my name. It has my title, head of business and strategy. It has my contact details. Then executive summary is there. Then professional experience is there. And then education, skills, and publication. So it's a simple layout. There are no fancy things here. No infographics, no photograph of mine, not required. What is required is meat, and the meat is there. Now, the real space is very, very limited. Real space, when I'm saying, it is the number of pages. That is maximum 2 pages, it should be actually. So, and if you have only 5 years of service, 5 6 years of service, then even 1 page, not even 2 pages. So, in those 2 pages, max, you have to fit in everything. And you have to fit it in a manner that the person who is looking at your resume does not get confused. मैं देखता हूँ साइड में भी लिखा होता है, 2 3 डब्बे बनाए होते हैं, एक साइड में भी लिखा होता है स्किल. उस स्किल्स में इतनी सारी चीजें लिखी होती हैं, जितनी चीजें मतलब जैसे कि पूरी इंडस्ट्री का एक्सपीरियंस हमें ही है. सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट, प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट, ऑपरेशंस, वेंडर मैनेजमेंट, टेंडर फॉर्मलाइजेशन, पता नहीं क्या क्या सब कुछ, ऑपरेशंस. Every damn thing is written in this thing. Why are you writing this? You are not a Superman. Harfan wala thodi hai aap. Write what is required for that job. And write, अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा लिखोगे तो जो उस जॉब के लिए चाहिए था वो पढ़ने वाला उसको नहीं देख पाएगा. अगर मैं आपको एक लेटर लिखता हूँ या ईमेल लिखता हूँ और उसमें मेन पॉइंट जो है वो बीच में कहीं छुपा हुआ है, उसके आगे पीछे बड़ा सा प्रीएम्बल है, पोस्ट एम्बल है, ठीक है, so it may not have that impact. You may not read those lines because you may get bored before reaching there. So you have to write your resume in a manner so that what he wants to read is right in front of him. I hope this point is clear. The resume is what your resume should be written in a manner that it should be what the recruiter wants to read, what he is looking at, what he is wanting in a candidate is highlighted properly there. No, he doesn't want those jargons. So now it should have a clear application. It should be readable by an application tracking system. अगर आप बहुत सारे infographics डाल दोगे, बहुत सारे डब्बे इधर-उधर बना दोगे, the ATS may get confused, and even human reader may get confused. क्या है यार ये मतलब? He's not able to see. First 5 6 seconds are important. So keep it simple. Layout doesn't have to be very fancy. It may look very fancy. Looks ke upar mat jao. So have a clear structure, and top half which is there is the most important section of the resume. What is top half? Contact info and summary, headline, and it should have what the hiring manager wants to see. Top half में 5 सेकंड लगते हैं, 3 से 5 सेकंड, 7 सेकंड मैक्स. अगर टॉप हाफ में उसको वो दिखाई दे जाता है, जो वो देखना चाहता है, तो आपका रिज्यूमे वो आगे देखेगा, अदरवाइज वो नहीं देखेगा। उसके पास एक जॉब के लिए 250 ऑन एन एवरेज, आई एम टेलिंग यू, 250 रिज्यूमे आते हैं। He doesn't have that time. So now we'll come to what should be there in the executive summary. So it is very, first of all, if you are a fresher or if you are up to 5 years of service, you may not write an executive summary because आपके पास इतना experience ही नहीं है summary के लिए. But if you're a mid senior level professional and if you are making a career transition, एक जगह से एक major career transition कर रहे हैं, then resume summary becomes very, very. So whatever, it is just an example. So I have just given Colonel Manish Kochhar MBA. Why I have written MBA here is basically because in the job description, only MBA was a mandatory requirement. And I wanted to tell him that I am MBA, right? So there may be cases. And secondly, I am applying for the job of Vice President of Sales. And for sales and business, generally MBA is always a mandatory requirement. So that is why I have written Colonel Manish Kochhar MBA, and of course उसके बाद जो भी contact details वगैरह वगैरह है, but we will come to the summary. Now see, in the top of summary I have written Vice President of Sales, so that he finds the keywords right then and there. I have applied for this, and my previous experience also has been in this sales and business development, so I have written this. And below that I have written revenue growth, market penetration, leadership training, because these are the keywords जो सबसे ज्यादा important keywords जो मुझे उस job description में लगे, वो मैंने यहाँ पे लिख दी पहले ही. Since I have been in sales and business, so revenue growth has always been part of my responsibilities. Since I am in sales and I have been in sales and business, market penetration is also applicable to me. And since I am applying for a senior role of vice president in an organization, leadership training comes naturally to me. And since these were all mentioned in the job description, I have written it here so that it catches the recruiter's attention. And also it is taken notice of cognition of by the application tracking system in case the first screening is through the software. And then of course I write reliable, energetic and resourceful sales, marketing, whatever, and then I give my 2-3 bullet points: successful consulting, marketing and sales experience in the technology sector, vagara, vagara. And then if required, then I can give my core competencies here, which will be taken from the job description. So this makes me top 1/4, top half का एक part है ये of your resume summary and core competencies, and इसके बाद आएगा आपका professional experience. Now we'll go to the interview season calling. So I got a call from a very bright officer, and I spent some discussion became longer and longer, and I don't know, he might be here also. So discussion became very long, and okay, then they must have managed, if the DGR regional course interview season is not going on, then they must have managed the interview on their own through some other method. But of course, in the campus placement also you get interviews, and sometimes interviews are online also. So one of the most important and one of the most commonly asked question is, tell me about yourself. By far the most popular and probably the first question to be asked. What is the intent of asking? The intent of asking is to learn more about your personality and character, to know that you are confident and passionate about the position you are applying for, and also that you want the job. Now when you are asked this, tell me about yourself, you don't have to start answering in a manner जो कि आपका resume, आपकी CV उसके सामने पड़ा है. He has gone through it. आप उसको बताना शुरू कर दोगे कि sir, I am an Indian Army officer and with 20 years of service and I joined in 1990 and then I was platoon commander. Thereafter I commanded a company, 120 people were there and this and that, etc., etc. And you take him through your journey entirely. No, he's not wanting to listen to that. Interviews are never about yourself. It's a very controversial statement, but interviews are always about the interviewer who is taking you in, what he wants to listen, and are you telling him what he wants to listen? Interview is always about that. So what you have to tell them, you tell them where you are now professionally. So you can always say that my CV is there with you. I mean, you will have to word it accordingly. I'm just telling you. My CV is already in front of you, so I will tell you some points which may not be there in the CV or which need to be highlighted. And then you tell him where you are now professionally, how you got where you are, and why you love what you do, and how the position, which is the most important point, how the position you are applying for, meets your career goals and aspirations. This is what is the crux. You have to tell him those things which he wants to hear. So, for example, just a sample. For example, if I position myself with one of the hiring companies or maybe in the HR or whatever, somebody who's into career strategy and all. So I can always tell him that I'm a career strategist, helping professionals find their dream jobs so that they can grow in the field they love. And I'm very passionate about seeing my clients, getting out of the bed in the morning and going for the job which they love and where they can contribute maximum. And what is unique about what I do is the process that I use to help my clients and build confidence to achieve their career goals. And I'm thrilled to learn. Now, this is the part which we talk about last. How the job I am applying for meets my career goals and aspirations. So, you say that I'm thrilled to learn that your company's vision of providing award-winning career guidance aligns perfectly with my goals and aspirations of a business owner. Whatever. I mean, it was just an example. So the thing is, the last bullet, how the position you're applying for meets your career goals and aspirations, and why you love this are very important. And you have to read the job description before going for the interview. You have to read the job description many times and see that for everything which they are asking, do you have something, some example which can bring out that aspect in your career, in your previous assignments? That is what they are wanting to hear. If you are applying for a projects management job, then somewhere you have to bring out that as part of this, though it is mentioned very, cryptically in my CV, but I executed 4 large projects, what so and so, which previously ran into trouble and how I completed them, etc., etc. Whatever way. So whichever aspect, whichever job role you are applying for, what are those important key points the recruiter is looking for? What is mentioned in the job description? That has to be mentioned in your tell me about yourself. And there is a little bit of overlap between tell me about yourself and a 30-second elevator pitch. So you can actually see the video which is already there in Career Coach YouTube channel. 30-second elevator pitch is something which you must prepare if you are going for an interview, because the attention span is very short. So if you first start with that elevator pitch, and I do this is how I do, why I love this, and how I help the organization which I will join, how I can contribute in 30 seconds, flat. And then you say, okay, and you continue your tell me about yourself thereafter. He is hooked. This is the hook which you have to actually first give. The hook so that he is hooked to you. Okay, and this I written. Then there are certain I had this also. I have taken from my presentation only. I mean, not presentation, from my video only on career coach. There are certain behavioral interview questions. Give me an example of where you failed miserably in the task assigned to you, or give me an example where you retrieved a failed project and completed it successfully. So these are behavioral questions. Give me an example of a very stressful situations in your career and how you managed it. So these are uh, behavioral questions. And the method to answer this is the STAR method, where S stands for situation, T stands for task, A stands for action, and R stands for result. Oh, it is applicable for all 54. If you're 54, if you are asked, give me an example of a uh, example where you, from your previous assignment, where you failed miserably. At that time, you can't be fumbling. Even if you fumble, you should have a structure. So you give the situation first. So what you are doing, in short, is actually you are telling him a story. And storytelling is a very important aspect of it's actually very important in life. So you're telling him a story that this was the situation, such and such thing happened because the project was failing. So the task was to retrieve the project. So situation, task, action. As the project leader or director, project director, or as the whatever, I did this, and result was that I managed to retrieve the project successfully without any liquidation damages, LD or penalty imposed by the client, and it also managed the organization to bag more projects. So you gave the situation, you gave the task, what was the task in hand, what action you took, and what results you achieved. So it's a story, you have woven a story now. And it will be for all your behavioral questions. Anyone asks you something, give me an example of this star. So give it in this manner. Take your time. Pause for a second. Don't give a rehearsed answer. Pause for a second and then start giving. So this is what I wanted to cover today.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work